I used to think you were a crazy right winger, just like I'm sure a lot of people thought I was a crazy left winger. Do you feel like those terms don't? I feel like those terms don't really mean anything anymore because all the people who claim to be lefties, they've abandoned all their left wing. They're not for my body, my choice anymore because that was proven during COVID. It's not your choice; it's the government's choice. They're not anti-war; they're very pro-Ukraine war. They're very what's the other thing? So. There's freedom of speech. They're not for freedom of speech. They're for censorship. So that's the hallmark of authoritarianism and dictators and so what do you make of the left wing becoming not anymore? And do you think those terms even mean anything?
I don't think the terms mean anything anymore. I think we are going through a very clarifying moment. And I think we're seeing that on the right where we're recognizing these neocons are behaving like leftists. Do you believe in speech? Do you not believe in speech? And I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't think in terms, it's almost too myopic to think in terms of left and right and Republican and Democrat. And I think that the elites love that. And going back to that, they love a divide. They love us yelling at each other. And I think the truth is that those of us who are willing to pursue truth, we're in the same party. Those of us who believe in what it means to be an American, we believe in free speech, we believe in debate, we believe in the right to be wrong. I mean, these are things that are essential to fight for. So if that means I'm linking arm with someone who's traditionally a Democrat or a leftist, I don't care. Do you care about truth? Do we recognize that this country is in a full decline right now? And do we recognize that we hardly even have national security and national sovereignty, anymore? It's like we've just become a globalist super nation. And I think that is making allies, some strange bedfellows, as one would say, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're breaking outside of these lines.
I mean, when you see people like, I try to tell people that Tucker Carlson did get fired for lying, right? He got in trouble when he started telling the truth about Syria, Ukraine, Big Pharma, COVID. That was the last straw when he told the truth about Big Pharma. And people don't realize this. They think that he got in trouble for lying about something, and now you see people like you and Julian Assange and Tucker Carlson and me. We're on the same page, which is so very bizarre to me.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. And I think that what we're seeing is that people are following those people. So the corporate system is dying. People have lost faith and they see what happens. When you get rid of somebody like Tucker and you try to convince us that he's a bad guy, it's just not going to work. I'm happy he's independent. I'm happy he's free. This is the best version of Tucker. I'm happy I'm independent. I'm happy that I'm free. I wake up every day and I'm excited and we're having fun because we're able to tackle the stories that we want to tackle without having to think about, I guess, corporate narratives, so to speak. So everything is happening for a reason. I believe God has his hand on us right now. And that in the end, I'm extremely optimistic. I do believe we're going to win. I think we're not even at the beginning. We're sort of at the middle of an awakening.
Why do you hate Jews and why, what's the big controversy over saying Christ is king? I don't understand. I don't get that.
That was made up out of thin air by Andrew Klavan. No one's ever heard the controversy over Christ is King. And the day I left, I guess he just was sort of like, well, we need to maybe make it seem like she's a bad person. Remember that time she said Christ is King last November? Yeah, that's the narrative. Let's get this girl out of here. Yeah, did you see this tweet she sent last November? And I love it because he was really selling it with his chest. He was like, when you spit that phrase at a Jew. I'm like, what are you talking about? Christ, what for Jew? Secondly, he is king. I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
And shalom.
So yeah, he tried to sell it and he really brought it to the market. And I don't think the market bought it. And it was just a little petty way to kind of throw some dirt on me on my way out. But I don't care. I could care less. I genuinely wish the guy well.
Okay.
The weird tricks are more creepy, I think.
Well, listen, did your video about Macron's wife, did it get demonetized?
No, so we strangely got kicked out of the chat, which has never happened, just froze. And we just kind of had to basically not premiere it live. And then we had to go re-upload it and then just publish it, which was very strange. But I blame Rabbi Shmuley and Emmanuel Macron. I think they're working together, actually.
He was good friends with Michael Jackson and Oprah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes. Okay, we have to wrap it up. I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody check out Candace's show on YouTube, which is where I check it out at now. Thank you for coming on very much. I appreciate it.
It was so much fun, guys. See you soon.
Okay,
Thank you, Candace. Bye.
So here's another. Now I want you. I'm going to play this. He was asking you why you haven't tweeted out about enough about the Israel October 7th Hamas attack, right? And so whenever someone confronts us here at the show about, they go, "Oh, you support Hamas," I say, "I don't support Hamas." You know who does support Hamas? Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government, who have been giving them suitcases full of cash for the last 15 to 20 years, at least. So why would they be doing that? We all know why. But let me play this, and this is your response to him.
Now, to be clear, I am consistent on all matters. I do not want America involved whatsoever in anything that is happening in Israel. I don't want my dollars sent over to Israel. We should not be supporting Israel. Obviously, Thomas Massey has done a lot of work showing how it doesn't even make economic sense that we have so much debt and yet we're sending money over to support Israel. And the biggest issue, by the way, that I have with Israel in talking about them being above reproach is the fact that they are supplying the arms to murder Christians. Okay? In Armenia, the oldest Christian country in the world, and yet nobody talks about that. For whatever reason, it seems to be the circumstance that when Jewish people die in Israel, it's wall-to-wall coverage. But when Christians die all over the world, nobody talks about it. Everyone wants to correlate everything to World War II. Everyone wants to talk about Adolf Hitler, and rightfully so, he was a horrific person. But nobody wants to talk about Henryk Yagoda, right? Nobody wants to talk about the Bolsheviks. Nobody wants to talk about the Christian Holocaust. I am tired of the media, exhausted of the media not speaking about what is happening to Christians all around the world. And it is especially horrific, while at the exact same time that it is happening, the slaughter of Christians in Armenia, the arms being supplied by Israel, that the media turns the other way and says, "Oh, okay, but what about what's happening in Israel?" So you know what I'm asking for? Actual equality. Okay? Because it seems like this is like a special category, the special relationship that we have. I'm a Christian first, okay? And so my concerns are going to be with what's happening to Christians all around the world, because it is us. We are the #1 most persecuted religion in the world. And all Christians watching this need to realize the time is now to start speaking up, because we have been silenced about the things that are happening to us for a very long time. And the media is very clearly not our friend. When there is wall-to-wall coverage of Christians being killed in Armenia, Christians being killed in Nigeria, and the treatment of Christians in America and all across the globe today, then you ask me if I will use my platform and I will use my voice to speak about what's happening in Israel. How about that?
So why do you hate Jews? So
it's just funny because this is how the media actually behaves. You say something sensible, and then it's just, well, you hate black people. Well, you hate Jews.
Just because you worship the best Jew who ever lived.
So let me ask you two questions there about that. Tell me what is Yagoda, and what happened with the Bolsheviks and the Christians?
Oh, you just casually killed 10 million Christians. It's incredible. People think that the greatest mass murderer was Adolf Hitler. And no, actually, if you want to talk about genocide, the fact that people in America don't know about what the Bolsheviks did to Christians, where did the idea of a concentration camp come from? The Bolsheviks. The reason why we're not allowed to learn about these people, we don't talk about Henryk Yagoda, is because he's a Jew, right? And so it conflicts with the narrative of Jewish people always being the victim in every single circumstance. So we're willing to push away Christian history. We don't talk about Christian history whatsoever because they have this bizarre focus, our classrooms, on training us to have this bizarre allegiance to Israel. And so to suit us, I feel that we are heavily propagandized in the classroom. And the reason why I feel that way is because we spend years talking about the Holocaust, only for me to learn when I'm out of school about a bigger Holocaust that took place at the exact same time. We were locking arms with Stalin. I mean, you read Alexander Solzhenitsyn talking about the gulags and who built those gulag systems, who created those gulag systems. The majority of them, he eventually wrote a book, were Jewish men. And of course, this has not become collective guilt. Doesn't mean all Jews are Bolsheviks and think this way. But the fact that I'm denied the right to talk about my history while you demand I talk about yours, and you demand that I worship Israel, doesn't fly with me. I'm just sick and tired of the subjugated Christian. I'm sick and tired of the tail in between your leg Christian that is like Israel first, and then I'll get to the New Testament. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm uncomfortable with it. And that was probably the first time in that entire interview that Piers shut up. Because he knows I'm right. It's utterly ridiculous to come to a Christian and say, have you used your platform to talk about Israel? Do you think that he would go to a Jewish person and say, have you used your platform to talk about Armenia? And if the answer is no, then why not? It's because what has happened is that it's not an equal system. No, it's not equality. They are treated, Israel as a country is treated with special interests. And I got to say about Israel, just looking at the history there, I mean, this is our greatest ally, as they say. That's the program. This is our greatest ally. I mean, with allies like that, who needs enemies, right? In terms of the things that they have been involved in historically, no one wants to talk about the USS Liberty. With allies like this, who needs enemies? I am tired of being involved in their crap. I'm America first. I won't apologize for it. I'm Christianity first. I won't apologize for it. And that upsets some people because I guess, how dare she have the audacity? Well, guess what? I have the audacity, folks.
So you're saying that there was a greater Holocaust of Christians that happened, and it was committed by the Bolsheviks, and the leader of them at the time was a Jewish guy.
Well, Henry Yagoda, what really ran the Gulag camp system. So people should read, if you're interested, Alexander Solzhenitsyn talking about how shocking it was to watch the American president linking arms with Stalin, talking about we're putting an end to the Holocaust in World War II. And Stalin was still mass killing Christians in Russia. I mean, it's an absolute nonsense. And you got to take it back all the way. You know, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. They assassinated the Tsar, I think, in 1880. And then by the time they actually properly took over, I think it was around 1910. And so what was going on in Russia at that time was they immediately took over. They started a gulag system, concentration camps, where they were mass drowning Christians in barges. And this information is readily available, and yet you never learn about it. And people don't want to talk about it. It makes them very uncomfortable.
Well, I didn't hear about it until I heard you talk about it.
Yeah, Henry Yagoda, look him up. It's stunning. I mean, he must have killed alone 15 million people.
Candace,
and this is a person that's not even spoken about. And so that's the reason why Piers just goes, okay, yeah, no, okay, let's move on to the next point. So in my viewpoint, the Israeli government has way too much involvement with the American government, and part of that, this program, and you saw this after October 7th, Congress immediately passed that there would be we would be learning about October 7th in schools as if it was like Pearl Harbor, right? A day that will live in infamy. Why? This is not my country. That's a nonsense. And if the answer is, because it's a day that should live in infamy, why just Israel? Why just Israel?
Right.
Why not also what's happening in Armenia or happening in Nigeria or happening all over the world? Why not a day that will live in infamy? Russia actually just went through a terror attack, and Russia has a lot of Christians. I'm Christian. So if we can just start drafting over days of terror that happen on the basis of our religion, I'd like to draft what just happened in Russia. I want my kids to learn about that in school.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Hey, so you said the thing about concentration camps. I thought the Cecil Rhodes, Boer War concentration camps came first. Am I wrong about that?
Pardon, could you say the last tidbit?
The Boer War in South Africa when Cecil Rhodes, the architect of apartheid that Israel uses.
What year was that?
Like in 1889 or something, I thought.
It could have been. You might be right. I know that. I think the Gulag system was particularly evil.
Yeah.
So, but you could be right. I wouldn't.
Well, if you
be
read
able to
Tragedy
you on
and
that
Hope,
point.
you read Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. They have pictures of it. It looks like Auschwitz. And the Rhodes Scholarship is still available to this day. Clinton, I think Obama was one. We still have stuff in that guy's name. That guy invented that stuff. In fact, his little cadre with Wall Street invented the Bolsheviks and the Nazis, which is kind of interesting.
And it's crazy because so many of those sick, demented communists came over to America after. They were like, this is the why Alexander Solzhenitsyn writes. You had the trials. You had the Nuremberg trials at the end of Nazi Germany. Where were the trials for the Bolsheviks?
Well,
where were the trials for Henryk Yagoda, who was actually ended up being killed because they always end up eating their own? But where were all of these trials for the people that were mass murdering Christians? They killed about 10,000 priests. I mean, locking down churches. And people tell me to go support Zelensky as he's shutting down churches. You want me to support this Bolshevik? I'm not doing it. And so they can't believe it, what the propaganda tells you. He's a good guy. Oh, yeah, totally good guy. To suspend elections, shut down churches, that really does sound like we're defending democracy all over the world. Let's get this guy some more money. Yeah, I'd like a pass on that.
Why are you so homophobic? Zelensky's, he's just a nice guy. He likes to dance around in leather hot pants.
Latex.
That's it, latex. Hey, come